people, what's going on? It's your boy Alexander back with another video. I'm on the road, of course. As we know, this is just kind of how we do things around here. Today, y'all, I wanted to talk about the topic of self-realization and taking a look at yourself in the mirror. Okay. At this point, especially, the way society is kind of built now, and the foundation of how things are actually being ran. We know a lot of things are kept in the dark, right? There's a lot of things that, as a society, are just held back from us, or it's portrayed to be one way, and it's very deceptive, right? It's almost like a gas screen, it's not, the truth is there, right? But it's often masked, right? And it is portrayed to be something that it's not. And the reason I mention this is because that same deception that is, around in our everyday life can also be in our very own personal lives as well. And to elaborate on that, the way that you can, avoid the deception, right, and avoid going down the negative loops, right, or spiraling down into the, bad habits or, harmful thinking patterns, is it just starts with you taking accountability and looking yourself in the mirror and acknowledging where you are in the moment, what's been actually holding you back, and where do you want to be. And if you can be, very transparent and real with yourself, you then at that point have set the standard, right? You have set, in your mind, the goal already, right? So at this point now, it's a choice if, you decide to actually work towards that goal. Now, of course, it's not going to be easy. Of course, you're going to have to put the work in, but that's the whole point of it, right? We know at this point, pain equals growth, right? Where there is growth, there is also pain, right? Pain is our teacher. Pain is the universal teacher, okay? So when you are being real with yourself in the mirror, right, and you're taking accountability for where you are, you're acknowledging, every decision that you have made up until this point is the makeup of where you're at currently, you then at that point need to, of course, become aware, but also start working through these things that may be harming you or may be affecting you, right? We know that as kids, we know that as adults, right? There's things as kids, and it could be environment, it can be, just the way our parents, like how they brought us up. These things can affect us as adults, right? The things that, the behaviors and the patterns that you may have had as a kid that weren't corrected, or, you probably just didn't have a proper role model, right? You probably didn't have someone who was teaching you right from wrong. These things can affect you as you get older, and these type of behaviors and patterns bleed into your everyday life, and these things can also be holding you back from what you truly want and desire. So it is on us, especially as someone who is taking accountability for their actions and where they're at, it is super important that we reflect on these things. That way we can actually work through it, we can actually heal from it, and use that power, right, and use that opportunity for growth to our advantage. Okay? And with that being said, right, everyone's story, everyone's childhood, experiences growing up is obviously different, right? We may have a lot of similarities. Some of us may have grown up in same areas or come from similar backgrounds. But at the end of the day, we have our own mental model, right? We have our own thought patterns, our own beliefs in ourselves, and these environments also helped shape that, okay? So I want to talk about forgiveness, right? I want to talk about part of being accountable, part of being someone who is, taking accountability for where they're at and their actions, is also forgiving the people in your life that didn't know any better, right? Or the people that did you wrong and weren't considerate enough about, how a situation or how, decisions they made might have affected you, right? And sure, these things that, you might have done to someone, or, things that might have been done to you, they can be painful, right? It can be painful to think about. And there may even be a lot of things that are just so subconsciously rooted that you might not even remember that they occurred, right? And there might be little things that you might see, or something that may pop up in just your day-to-day life that might trigger it, and you might start thinking about a specific event, or a specific thing that you used to do as a child that you just forgot about, or a behavior that you did as a kid that was always frowned upon or always corrected. You were probably made to feel like you were always wrong, or you were told to not do something, right? These things can have an effect on us, especially as we get older, because again, we were made up of this environment and these influences from the people older than us that helped shape the person who we are today. So it's important. I know I talk to you guys a lot about doing shadow work. Shadow work allows you to tap into that, right? And tap into your younger self, tap into these events and these thinking patterns, these emotions that you may have felt throughout these these situations in your lifetime, right? So as humans, right, and as we have the ability to learn, we got to be able to recognize these things, and we have to make sure that we are actively working through them to get better. That way we don't carry this hurt, or we don't carry this pain or trauma to these next chapters in our lives, right? Or to these new relationships that we have with new people, right? We don't want to poison these new opportunities that we may have, right? In the book, now I can't think about the book name. Oh my goodness. One second. Okay, I can't remember the book. I'm gonna give you guys the quote. So it talks about seeds, okay? And in the book it talks about you planting seeds, right? Apple seeds are gonna breed apples, right? Nettles are gonna breed nettles, okay? So if you are expecting good things to come from a badly planted seed, it just won't happen, right? It just won't happen. There's no way. You can't expect good things to come from something that is wrongfully sowed, right? In the Bible, it also talks about you reap what you sow. You know, so if you are continuously, you know, doing things that are not beneficial to you, doing things that are harmful, you can't expect anything good to come out of that situation. Now, on the flip side to that, if you are practicing what you're preaching and you are, you know, really taking care of yourself and you are doing the things that you know you should be doing and you're making progress, you've been consistent, you've been disciplined, opportunities and people will spring towards you because they are drawn to that energy. They are drawn to that natural positive force that you are radiating, you know, through your actions and through the energy that you're pouring into the world. And that energy is a reflection of the work that you've been putting in, and it's being outwardly expressed, and your light is being, you know, projected, and people can feel that. People can feel your energy, you know. So heal yourself, okay? Reflect. Think about, you know, your traumas, okay? Do shadow work. Bring these things to the surface, because once they're on the surface, you're able to address it. And if you're able to address it, you're able to start healing from it, right? You are able to accept, you know, the trauma. You are able to accept the pain, right, as an experience, as something that you may never want to go through again, or as something that you may never want anyone else to ever experience or feel, right? So use that experience, use that trauma to project positive and promoting energy into the world. Use that hurt, right? Use that hurt that is so deeply rooted inside of you and turn it into something positive. All right, make that part of your testimony. All right, you're not defined by your trauma, okay? You're much bigger than your trauma. You're much bigger than, you know, the hurt and the pain that you were put through. Okay, use that to your advantage. That is energy that has just been stored up and has been robbing you, you know, of your joy, robbing you of your gift, right? Use that energy to impact people. Use that energy to inspire people, right? If there are people who have been through similar situations as you, right, or may have similar traumas, talk to them about how you got through that, right? You never know, through conversation or through even filming yourself, making videos like this, you never know how you might impact someone. So work through these things so that you can bring that positive energy, you can bring that light out to the world and make a positive impact and leave your mark on people. Woo-wee. My brothers and sisters, I'm about to pull up here to the house. I hope you guys, you know, are taking care of yourselves. I hope you guys are on this journey with me. Continue to demand greatness from yourself. Don't ever settle. Keep working towards what you want, and the opportunities will come around, and be prepared for them. All right, be prepared. You guys have been putting in a lot of work, right? If you've been putting in the work, opportunities will come around, and at that point, it is your time to shine. All right, keep moving forward. Don't look back. Stay consistent. Stay disciplined. I love you guys. You know, whoever is watching this here, I love you guys so much, and I wish you nothing but the best wherever you're watching this from in the world. You know, you can have whatever you want. Okay, believe it, visualize it, tap into your, you know, your energy, your higher power. And until next time, y'all be safe out here.